Today on the 1012 Softball Show, myself, Eric, and Lea are previewing the Big 12 softball tournament. It gets underway Wednesday. That's why we are coming to you early. We've got a breakdown on Wednesday and Thursday's potential matchups and a look ahead to the impact from these games on the postseason. Who's trying to get in, who's trying to host, and a whole lot more coming up on the 1012.
Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply. USAA.
Welcome to the 1012 Softball Show, part of the 1012 Podcast Network. Of course, we are partners of Sports Social, Europe's biggest sports podcast network. Find every show in the 1012 Network at 1012network.com. It is not Thursday. Coming to you, I want to say Monday. It depends on some things. It might be Tuesday morning early. I'm hoping it's Monday evening. We'll just see if the interview that I have scheduled happens. Fingers crossed. We will not say who it is because, say it with me, folks, if I tease it now, it won't happen. But the regular season of Big 12 softball is over. The Big 12 tournament gets underway on Wednesday, so we needed to drop an episode early. When I say we, this is because every podcast is someone's first. Hopefully, we're always adding new listeners. He is, as I said before we started recording, the man, the myth, the legend, the voice of UCF softball, one of the voices when it comes to Big 12 softball, one of the voices when it comes to college softball with the In the Circle podcast. He is Eric Lopez.
What an introduction. I am here. I am good to talk to you. Can't believe we're in championship week. That's kind of wild to me.
I know. It came faster. It always comes faster than I think it's going to. It always does. Sports and children. The days are long, but the time is short. It's a perfect two perfect things that correlate to that theory. Speaking of long introductions, she is the mother of the Cycloneers. She is the most famous Iowa State softball alum. She is the trash talk queen of the 10-12 network. She is the Quad City communication queen. She is Baylor head coach Glenn Moore's second favorite person. She is Lea Nelson.
Woohoo, thank you. When you said sports and children, and then you said, speaking of that, I thought you were going to say, speaking of children, here's Lea Nelson. But, and I was like, okay, cool. That's what I was prepared for. But yeah, definitely pumped to talk about postseason. Can't believe how quick it has gone. And shout out Iowa State for coming out with the series win against Baylor.
Yeah, great for Iowa State. I mean, look, we've talked a lot about Iowa State this season for good reason. Most conference wins of all time with 15. Most conference series wins of all time with 6. And the best conference finish since 1988. They finished third in the Big 12. It's incredible. It is an incredible season for Iowa State. I hate that it's an incredible season for Iowa State that is more likely than not going to end in a postseason berth because of struggles in non-conference. But look, Iowa State's graduating 2 players from this roster. I said it on Twitter, and I'll say it here now. I understand a lot of programs are bringing a lot of players back, but that's got to give you some hope for Iowa State softball next season when you're only losing 2 seniors out of this class. Obviously, portal is what it is. Maybe some players enter, maybe they don't, but you're only going to have to replace 2 players on this roster. That's a good thing for this Iowa State team.
Yeah, they're incredible. I was able to get to chat with a bunch of them after the game on Saturday, and yeah, they get along so well. No drama. One of Sydney Mala actually said it's kind of crazy that it's a group of girls and there's no drama. You don't see that a whole lot, and they're great. Obviously, you said they're losing to Mo. It's going to be tough with Mo's leadership, Angelina Allen's leadership. But they are just excited. And I think they're going to have that feeling of being so close to the NCAA tournament this year that they're going to come back so much stronger because they all want to experience that. So I'm excited to see what they do next year.
Well, yeah, I agree. And listen, they get the 3 seed, so it's not all lost. I mean, you're, Phillip, what you're alluding to, I think they're about 62 in the RPI by the time this comes out, in that range. That's not going to get you in that large for the reasons you mentioned, Phillip. So, but you get the 3 seed, you get a bye, Lea. They're going to get the winner of BYU in Houston. So it's a favorable draw to get to a semifinal. And then who knows after that, right? It's been the kind of year where you could maybe surprise people. So it's not like you have to run the gauntlet to win the conference championship, which is what they would have to do to get to the tournament. So I don't even remember them being, like I said, I mean, a semifinal. I know they faced it before. They've been to a semi before, but this would be pretty special if they can get there.
It would be really special. I mean, again, this group of girls have been working so hard. They're so excited. And I think I'm excited for them to get to experience Oklahoma City because that stadium, that environment, it is just something so special. And some crazy things happen there. Like, I would not be surprised if there were some upsets. And you even mentioned it. I think Iowa State is on the better side of the bracket. Phillip and I were kind of talking about it before we started recording, but I think they've got a good favorable draw. And also, Coach Pink made sure to tell me to tell you guys hi. And he talked about the pod, and he listens every week. So
I'll say this too. Usually, I think we discussed this a few weeks ago. Usually, coaches' awards when it comes to conferences goes to the team that wins the conference championship and all that. I'd like to think Pink gets the vote here. He should win Coach of the Year. Nobody saw this coming. Even the most diehard Iowa State people did not see this coming. Right. I think they were picked next to last.
Yep.
In the Big 12. Phillip, I think they were next to last in our preseason poll.
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. Listen, and certainly this kind of shows the flaws in the system, in that, especially particularly the RPI, because I want to say in the KPI, they're in the 48, 49, 50 range, which is probably more accurate. They dug themselves out with the non-conference, but it is weird that the third best team in the third best conference likely won't make the NCAA tournament, but that's the system that's in. And it's just that Utah loss. I just wonder what if they would have held on and swept them, because that really killed them. If they win that, I think they might be anywhere in that 50 to 52 range, or conversation's completely different. But that's what happens when you dig yourself a hole in the non-conference. But there's certainly some flaws in the system that this may have exposed, whether anybody changed. And listen, I spoke to Kurt McGuffin, the committee chairperson. I think they acknowledge there's flaws here with the RPI. That's why they try to emphasize they're not just going to go based on RPI. The problem is there is no perfect system. It's not like the KPI is perfect. And so that's the problem when you're trying to figure out at large teams is, what do you use to warrant it? Do you go, especially, and one of the flaws is they don't use conference standings, because it's an imbalanced schedule now with these conferences. That's one of the things that's a misnomer. They don't look at conference standings because everybody has a different schedule now within the conference. So it's unfortunate, but hey, they can make it a moot point. If they can get, with the right matchups here, they could get to it easily to the semis, and who knows, shock somebody, and now you're in the final trying to steal a bit.
Yes, Pink should win Coach of the Year. No offense to anybody else, but he should. Iowa State's, through Saturday's games, we're recording this on Sunday night, through Saturday's games, Iowa State is 64th in the RPI. KPI has them at 55th. And so, again, it's just, you lost too many bad games. You've got 4 quad 4 losses. That's not going to cut it. Which stinks because they're 2-5 against top 25. They are 9-12 against top 50. There's just too many losses in non-conference against bad teams. It just took them too long to get things figured out, which has kind of been the problem for Iowa State the last few years. And so that's why I say with only 2 players leaving, I really hope they find a way to. It's hard to carry momentum from season to season. Off season is so long and weird, and you never know what's going to happen. I really hope with as well as this team played at the end of the year, they're able to come out the gate better next year, because if they do, like, it's a postseason team. Because to me, the way Iowa State has played since they gotten into Big 12 play, this is a postseason team. It's just that non-conference matters, and what you do in the non-conference matters, and it has to and it should. So we got a Big 12 championship coming up. Tickets, of course, are available if you want to go. It all starts on Wednesday. Speaking of tickets available, inaugural season of the Athletes Unlimited Softball League starts this summer. Completed their first college draft the other day. Arizona's Devin Netz, who was our guest on the show last week, was selected by the Bandits. It's official. The Bandits are my team. That's it. Too many players that I have some sort of personal mild connection to. That's it. So you can see Netz, former Oklahoma State pitcher Lexi Kilfoyle with the Bandits, and more this summer across the country. The AUSL. Use promo code 1012, TEN12 for 10% off single game tickets at theausl.com. Seriously, Wichita, Kansas, Round Rock, Texas, Seattle, Washington, Norman, Oklahoma. They're going to be in North Carolina, Alabama, Salt Lake City, Utah. Across this country, fantastic professional softball. And I think the professional softball league I've been most excited about these last few years. The leagues come and go, kind of. This one feels like it might be the most solid. We'll see. But you can go, take your kids, go yourself if you're a softball fan. Go see a number of Big 12 as well as Arizona and Utah alum. So go to theausl.com, grab those single game tickets, use promo code 1012, TEN12, get 10% off. I'm sorry I don't have any promo codes for the Big 12 tournament this week. I would love to. I would love to go. I know Lea would also love to go. Eric will be there. So if you are there this week, find Eric. Tell him hi. Tell him you listen to In the Circle, and maybe the show too. Like, I know, but hey, or you're just a UCF softball fan, but make sure and tell Eric hi. Okay, so let's look at this bracket. We'll get to some postseason talk after this, but let's look at the Big 12 bracket. Everything starts, as I said, Wednesday. Game 1 is 9-seed Kansas versus 8-seed Baylor. Then game 2 is 7-seed UCF versus 10-seed Utah. And then the third game is number 6 seed BYU versus number 11 seed Houston. Then, of course, they will get 4 games on Thursday. 4-seed Oklahoma State versus 5-seed Arizona State. Texas Tech, the 1 seed overall, will await the winner of Baylor, Kansas. 2-seed Arizona will await the winner of UCF, Utah. And 3-seed Iowa State, the last game of the day on Thursday, will await the winner of BYU, Houston. Let's start with Wednesday's action. Look, you look at this tournament since it went to a single elimination bracket format back in 2022. Before that, it was a pool play tournament. Everybody got to play 3 games. Bracket format back in 2022. Nothing too surprising in the very first year. No upsets at all, except for in the championship game, 2-seed Oklahoma State beat 1-seed Oklahoma. But 2 years ago in 2023, 5-seed Iowa State upset 4-seed Baylor. 6-seed Kansas beat 3-seed Oklahoma State. Last year, you got 6-seed BYU over 3-seed Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State struggled the last 2 years in their first game in this tournament. So let's start on Wednesday. Looking at this bracket, do either of you see an upset that you would want to pick in this, or do you feel like it's going to be pretty chalky with Baylor over Kansas, UCF over Utah, and BYU over Houston?
Let's go, Lea. You're the upset person. Who you got?
All of them. No, I don't know. This first round on Wednesday, I think it seems pretty even keel. I mean, I would pick definitely Baylor, UCF, and BYU for all the games. I would be a little surprised if something switched up. Obviously, Kansas is playing decent, but I've got my money on Baylor, UCF, and BYU.
So it's a must win for BYU. I actually was prepared to have them as my last team in the field, and then Northwestern came and just decided to beat UCLA in a series at UCLA. So that's not great. So if you're BYU, it's a must win. You lose, you're done. You're toast from postseason. You win, you play Iowa State, and now you win that. Maybe you get to the final, and all of a sudden the conversation changes. But I like BYU there. But who knows? There's always that one late night Big 12 game that gets goofy. I remember last year Iowa State Texas Tech with the white walk off late night, and that smells like one that could be like that. What's interesting about UCF Utah, they've not played at all this year. They have not played. So that if you want to look for an upset, when you are not familiar with somebody, that could be a recipe for an upset. Utah's been scrappy. I mean, I think they kind of was scrappy with Oklahoma State, but if UCF throws Issa Vega, I don't think Utah is prepared for that. So Baylor was on the bubble last week and then lose the series to Iowa State. They lost the series to Kansas earlier in the year. Kansas has played well against Baylor the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. Kansas led UCF twice this weekend in the 7th inning, coughed up the lead. I would say if you're going to make me pick an upset, that could be it, because Baylor might, they might be exhausted from making this run. I would still pick Baylor, but if you're looking for the upset, Kansas does seem to match up well with Baylor.
Yeah, that is the one you kind of look at and go, I could see this happening. It is. It's not like we're talking about a massive upset, 8-9, right? Like I could see something there. My only concern with UCF Utah, and don't let Utah's series against Oklahoma State, which was scrappy, but their offense disappeared because their offense had been clicking for the 3 weeks prior to this weekend in Stillwater. And look, we've seen UCF's offense struggle, even against a really good pitcher. Could Utah's bats find themselves again and maybe pull off an upset? I will take UCF in that one, but I mean, we've seen Utah's offense play pretty well. It wouldn't be out of complete shock to see their offense show up for a game and UCF's not. But if we're going to take about pitching, like I'm certainly taking UCF's pitching than over Utah's pitching.
Well, that's the thing. I would say UCF's youth, right? They're young. How do they handle this spotlight? But you could also say the same for Utah. So that's what's so interesting about this matchup. But Utah should come out with a nothing to lose deal. And so we'll see what happens with that from that standpoint. So, yeah, I mean, the Big 12, anything can happen, but I think that we're all on the same page as far as what we think might happen.
Yeah, and BYU will mercilessly end Houston's season, and then we can have some off-season conversations about there, considering what we all think is very likely to happen. So then we move on to Thursday based off our conversation. We'll start with Oklahoma State, Arizona State, as we know that matchup is coming. They have faced each other before in a single midweek game. Ruby Malin outdueled Kinsey Brown in what was a pretty good midweek contest between those two teams. Oklahoma State came out on top then. I'm tired of being the pessimistic poke here on this show. But 2 straight years, OSU has come out flat in their first game of the Big 12 tournament. But those 2 years, OSU is in a spot where they were very confident in what they were going to do in the postseason, and that was host. They're not set there yet. Like that, if it's today, they're not hosting. They're traveling to Fayetteville. And no offense, I really don't want to face Brie Ellis in the regionals. Okay, I don't. That is not a recipe for success in facing Brie Ellis. So, like, if Oklahoma State wants any shot at getting to host and going through some of the potential hosts and looking at their resumes versus Oklahoma State, hello Virginia Tech with 3 quad 4 losses. Hello Oregon with 3 quad 4 losses. Right? Like they're it's not insane to say they still have a shot if they can get some wins. And it certainly wouldn't hurt to add a top 50 win over Arizona State here. Whereas Arizona State, like they're in, I feel confident in saying Arizona State is in this field, but obviously they're going to want to try and go as deep in this tournament as they can. I have a hard time picking this one. I do. I think I want to take Oklahoma State because I want them to host, but I don't know.
Wow. Well,
am I wrong?
You said, all Eric said, wow.
Wow. That's not a real confidence booster.
Wow.
If the committee listens to this, it's like, yeah, we don't need them to host. Look at her. Even their own guy doesn't think they're very good. Like that's incriminating there. First thing, you're right. Arizona State's in. UCF's in, by the way. Even if they lose to Utah, they're in. They've done, both of them are in. It's just, we're just talking now. The only thing that impacts them now is what seed they might get in the regionals and all that. The Oklahoma State thing is interesting. I want to say they're going to drop in the RPI. I don't know where they were going into today, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be 2021 range, possibly playing Utah, which doesn't help your schedule.
Through Saturday, they are 20th.
Yeah, that's not good. The other issue is, if you get Arizona State, you beat them, but then you got to play Texas Tech, and there's a part of me that wonders, is that good or bad for the Big 12? Like, you probably would have preferred, if you're a Big 12 person, to have them in separate brackets. Maybe they play each other in the Big 12 title game, then both get to host. But I feel like the winner of that game, the loser of that Texas Tech Oklahoma State game might get eliminated from hosting. I'm not saying, especially if it's Oklahoma State. Texas Tech's more an interesting case, but so it's interesting. The good news, though, to your point, is if Oklahoma State makes a run to the championship and wins it, they would have gotten 3 top 50 wins. Odds are in their favor. Like, let's say they beat Arizona State, beat Texas Tech, beat Arizona. That's pretty strong to make a skyrocketed move at somebody's expense. But I think your concern comes from the fact that Oklahoma State has not won a Big 12 tournament game since the 2022 championship game against Oklahoma. They've been bounced in the opening round the last 2 years. I was there in person last year against BYU, same time slot as this game against Arizona State. And I remember we talked about it literally, like that game scared me. And what happened? They were flat and BYU jumped on them. And so Oklahoma State needs to shy away from that. And I just hope, as a fan, we get Kenzie Brown versus Ruby Malin part 2, because I'll be in person for that, and that'll be fun. So I expect a low-scoring game because of that.
I think Oklahoma State is going to play a little bit with a chip on their shoulder. Before, I've seen them in the Big 12 tournament. They just seem a little comfortable almost. Like Eric said, they come out flat. But now they have a chance to not host, and that's not Oklahoma State. So it's going to be a little nerve-wracking because obviously Arizona State is a decent team, great team actually. And I hope there's a Kenzie Brown, Ruby Malin matchup. But I could see Oklahoma State coming out with a fire under their butts. And honestly, winning against Arizona State, and then honestly putting up a really good game against Texas Tech. So I'm excited to watch them play, and I'm low-key kind of rooting for them.
The problem is going to be, what I'm interested is, does Kenny use Ruby for the whole tournament? Or at some point does he say, you know what? Let's get ready for the regionals, wherever it is.
And I feel he's done that before.
Right.
But they've been set as a host before. This is the first year in a while they haven't been. And so that's what really makes me wonder.
That's what makes me wonder too, because if you throw Ruby, you probably have to throw her against Arizona State. I don't think there's another pitcher on this staff right now that could beat Kenzie Brown. They
pulled Acock they tried to pull Acock in, and it got real ugly and almost could have cost him a game. Right. And so they had to pull Ruby back in. Now, look, Crandall has looked better and better and better since she has come back from injury. She's been playing more and more innings. She put up a very good game in game 2 for Oklahoma State on Saturday. And so, I feel like she is going to get used some, but I feel like it's going to be a mix of her and Ruby. I think you have to play them both. I think you're going to have to play them both. It wouldn't shock me if you started with Crandall, saw how the game went, and then brought in Ruby.
The problem is, I don't know if you can afford that, because you might be facing Kenzie Brown and then Nyjah. It's not like, and this offense, we have discussed, that is very inconsistent. And I that's the problem. They don't have the room for error. And but they're capable, they're talented enough, and they will, in theory, have a home crowd advantage. That should help now.
Hasn't mattered the last 2 years.
And that's what's so bizarre. And certainly the time slot may not help that with the early start time. But listen, we'll see. And then what's weird about Arizona State, by the way, they haven't played in a week.
No.
They had the bye.
Yeah.
So are they rusty or are they like sharp and rested early? Something to look for early.
Really interesting. Texas Tech will face the winner of Kansas Baylor. I feel like we feel like that's probably going to be Baylor. Again, it could be Kansas. I feel pretty confident in picking Texas Tech to advance there. Arizona, the 2 seed, will face UCF or Utah. We think that's probably UCF. I know UCF took the series from Arizona some time ago. It's been a little bit. I think I would probably lean Arizona because they're going to be ready to go in this one. And then Iowa State, facing the winner of BYU Houston. We think that's BYU. And this isn't a shot at Iowa State. Like, Iowa State's playing fantastic. It's still a good BYU squad. That might be the most interesting one of game one outside of Oklahoma State and Arizona State. I wonder if the pressure isn't on BYU just because their postseason hopes aren't dead, but they are struggling. And so a run from them could potentially help, even though those wins would have to come against 2 teams in Houston and Iowa State that would not be top 50 wins.
Yeah, that's the problem. They didn't get a good draw from it as far as an improving the resume standpoint. But who knows? You're trying to win the automatic bid and make it a moot point. So that's what they're going to do. Let me go back to the Texas Tech thing because I think that game is more interesting than people think. I'm curious. What is Jerry going to do in that game? Does he throw Nyjah against Baylor or Kansas, or does he gamble and throw Chloe Riaceto early? And I'm just saying, he's played with fire. It burned him, I would argue, in the second game of the BYU series, where he started Chloe, pitched well, got in some trouble in the 5th, brought in Nyjah. Nyjah got out of the jam. He brought Chloe back in. Chloe gave up the 2-run homer. They lose that game. I'm very curious to see how Jerry plays this against the winner of that. Does he gamble and start Chloe thinking he can get by with Chloe and maybe have Nyjah ready to close and try to save Nyjah for the semifinal game? Or does he go right with Nyjah? I'm just saying, be careful there because, you play with fire, especially if it's a Baylor team with Govan in that company, that could be a dangerous situation. And again, if you're Texas Tech, you're not a lock to host. A loss to Baylor, Kansas could be disastrous, which could pave the way for Oklahoma State to host over you. So I'm just saying, watch out in that game.
Lea and I talked about this before we hopped on here, but I would much rather be, and I'm sorry, this sounds like I'm trying to insult Iowa State. We'd literally just praise them. I would much rather be Arizona in this bracket than Texas Tech. Because for Arizona, you have UCF or Utah. You have to get through 2 of UCF, Utah, Houston, BYU, and Iowa State to make it to the title game. While Texas Tech has to get through 2 of Baylor, Kansas, Oklahoma State, and Arizona State to get there. For getting a 1 seed, it sure feels like Texas Tech had a much more unfriendly path to the title game than Arizona does.
Potentially, right? Now, the counter argument would be Arizona could potentially see UCF, who beat them 2 out of 3 early in the year, and have the arms to contain their offense.
Fair.
Vega and Phillip. So that would be, and UCF's offense is a lot better right now than it's been in weeks. Like, they've really started to click the last couple of weeks. So, but you're not wrong. Arizona certainly will be the heavy favorite out of that side of the bracket. And again, it's what's so unpredictable is you could see Iowa State in the semis. You wouldn't be shocked, but you could also see BYU in the semis.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be shocked. I could also see BYU losing to Houston in a slugfest and not be shocked in the opening round. I mean, BYU's that weird, man. They're weird like that. Like they almost lost the Utah series. So that bracket with Iowa State, BYU, Houston could be wacky. Might be the wackiest of all. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we're texting each other at weird hours talking about how this bizarre these games are. Like, I really do.
We said weeks ago, we thought that for the first time in a long time, the Big 12 tournament was wide open. I'm afraid it's not. Like, I feel like we're having all these conversations about potential wackiness and weird things that could happen. And then we're just going to end up with Texas Tech, Arizona in the title. And I say that, like, I would love to see another Texas Tech, Arizona game. That whole 3-game Friday and Sunday's games in that series were phenomenal. And a fourth matchup there would probably also be a fantastic game. But if we're hoping for wackiness, I just, like, it might happen. It also might just be real chalky. I just don't know. This is the Big 12, folks. I don't know.
It would be very bizarre if it was very chalky, considering the year that it's been in the Big 12. And again, that's why I keep bringing it up. If Texas Tech doesn't start Nyjah, and he may not.
You have to win to host. Like, you want to host.
I agree.
You want to host in Texas Tech. You want to host in Lubbock. You should have, like, this is one of those situations. I get it, but, like, just play Nyjah. Just play her. Until you have a big lead, you throw her.
Right. The other thing is, from an Arizona standpoint, it's a unique setting. You're in Oklahoma City. You're not at a Pac-12 tournament. You're not playing any, what's the motivation there? Are they fired up? Do they come out flat? Like, there's just things you just don't know from that standpoint. It does seem a little topsy-turvy, but we're going to get either BYU, Iowa State, or Houston. One of them is guaranteed to be in the semifinal, and then who knows what happens there. And Lea, that's why they play the games, right?
That's why they play the games, and that's why they ruin people's tournament chances or seeding chances or hosting chances. It's the name of the game. But yeah, anything can happen in postseason. I think that's why everyone enjoys it so much, and that's why it's so fun. I'm kind of rooting for big upsets, but I love a good upset, but we'll see.
Lea, what's it like playing there?
Oh my gosh. That was by far the best weekend of my career. It is the atmosphere, the blast. You get to kind of experience the World Series without playing the World Series. And for teams that have never been there, it's surreal because sold out crowd, there's young girls chanting your name, and they don't care if you play or not. They just love seeing, softball players. So it's such an incredible experience. And I think people play some of their best softball in the Big 12 tournament. And you're going to see some teams play some of their best softball because truly the atmosphere just adds so much to it that it's like, if people have a chance to go, you got to go and see for yourself. I mean, Eric can probably attest to that.
I'm excited. I'm bummed out you're not coming.
I know. I'm bummed out too, because looking at the bracket, I'm like, let's go, Iowa State. You got a good chance.
No, it's a fun tournament. It'll be interesting too. I mean, it is. It's the mecca, and a lot of the players and coaches I've talked to, that's what's exciting. Like, I think what's exciting for them is, hey, we get to play at the World Series. If you're Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, Arizona, etc., you're thinking, hopefully this is the first of two stops
right
here, right? So that's motivation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, it's awesome, and it's recruiting. And from what I understand, the SEC's trying to find its version, and they've been talking about trying to do neutral site. Big 12 doesn't have that problem. No. And I think that's a good thing.
I think so too.
Yeah, good luck with that, SEC. Let's talk about the post. Oh, hold on. Lea, who wins the Big 12 tournament?
Iowa State, but if not Iowa State.
Love it.
I told Coach Bink I was going to be a little nicer on the podcast. So if not Iowa State, I'm going Texas Tech.
Okay. Eric, can you make a pick here? Are you allowed to make a pick?
I'll make a pick. I think Arizona. Only because I don't know how much is Nyjah going to pitch. Tell me how much. Is she going to pitch every game? Is she not going to pitch every game?
Yes, she's going to pitch every game.
See, there's a part of me that wonders that I could see a scenario where she doesn't start either the first game, or I could see Texas Tech get into the championship game and said, we're going to start Chloe. We did what we needed to do. I don't know, man. I'm just saying.
I know.
I'm just going to go with Arizona. I think they have the best offense in the Big 12. Nets, Stoddard. I do like their draw. I do. So I think that's going to be a tough team. The only team I think that could beat them in that draw is UCF because they have the pitching. I don't think anybody else in that side of the bracket can hold off Arizona in that park Whereas, to your point, Phillip, Texas Tech may have to face Ruby Malin in the semis, and that's not a lot.
Or Kenzie Brown.
Didn't they beat it? Or Kenzie Brown. They have a tougher road. So I'll take Arizona.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've got Arizona winning it this time. I think like they're going to have an easier path, and there's a chance that they don't have to play Devin Nets 3 straight games for 7 straight innings. If the offense does what we think what we've seen the offense do, whereas Texas Tech's offense has still had games, we just saw it against BYU this past weekend, where it's still kind of can be meh, and it really relies on Nyjah to get them to win. So I think Texas Tech might have, because again, you say they could face Ruby Malin, they could also face Kenzie Brown. And Arizona State did take one from Texas Tech. They're one of the few teams that actually beat Texas Tech in Big 12 play this year.
And we talked about Oklahoma State's offense being inconsistent. Texas Tech's offense has been inconsistent. Which offense shows up?
Yep.
We know which Arizona offense is showing up.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going to take the safe bet. But look, I disagree with you in that. I do think it's wide open. I think Arizona can win. I do think Texas Tech can win. I think Oklahoma State can win. I think Arizona State can get to the final. I think they're that good. And certainly, the way Iowa State's year's going, it'd be only fitting if they ended up in the championship game the way this year's going. So, it's nothing. I don't think it's whereas last year I remember going there, and I think the feeling was, especially once Oklahoma State lost to BYU, the whole tournament basically is all right, it's OU in Texas. That's it. It's done.
Yeah.
I don't sense that in this one. I don't sense that in this year's tournament. That will be the mood come Thursday, early Thursday.
I'll just say it. I would love a 6th Big 12 team to be in postseason this year. And for that to happen, someone outside of the 5 teams who are projected to be there probably got to win it all. Outside of BYU at least making it to the championship game, then maybe they can sneak their way in. Eric, let's talk about postseason. But first, I know you're going to be in Oklahoma City for the tournament this weekend or this week. What are you going to have for everybody?
Well, I'm going to be covering the Big 12 tournament. I'll be writing for it on D1 Softball. I'll be covering post-game. We're going to be doing live shows on In the Circle Wednesday night after the Big 12 tournament game is concluding. Both of you are invited, by the way. Victor has green-lighted that, so if you're both available. Granted, we don't know what time we're going to be on. We don't know what time it's going to be on. That's the only warning. As you guys know, Big 12 could get dark, get a little crazy. But we'll be on live Wednesday night. We'll be on Friday night from Oklahoma City. We'll have people from all over the country. We got people in the SEC tournament, people at the ACC tournament, Big Ten. So we're going to cover everything. But certainly I'll be in the middle of it at the Big 12 tournament. We'll have guests there internally in the Big 12. And then obviously we'll have a Saturday morning preview show before the Big 12 title game. We'll be on In the Circle SB on the YouTube channel to preview the Big 12 title game and all the championship games that day as well. And then I get back next Sunday, and then live reaction show on the selection shows, which will be crazy. So it's going to be crazy, but I'm looking forward to it, and certainly encourage everybody to tune in the Circle SB for all the coverage and all the coverage in the Big 12. And like I said, both of you, I think, will be a part of that. Hopefully, you get to play on the other side of you get to be the guests this time, Phillip and Lea. Well, you're already a guest, Lea, but Phillip, you get to be a guest.
It's always fun being a guest. It's always fun. Look, Wednesday the game 3 doesn't start till 7:30, so the kids will be in bed. So I'll be free. I'll be free Wednesday night, unless my wife finds something for us to do specifically. But
Lea, what about you?
Eric, I'm always free if you need me.
Thank you. Very good.
All right. We've kind of touched on it, so we'll get to it real quick. Postseason. Obviously, we are about a week away from Selection Sunday, finding out who's gonna make the field, who's gonna host. We feel confident that Arizona not only is going to be there, but will be hosting. The question then is can they get to a top 8 seed? I think that's going to be tough with the way the RPI is right now. We feel confident that Texas Tech and Oklahoma State will be there. Can one of them get a hosting spot? I think the bottom of those hosting spots is a bit weak. Texas Tech, as of before Sunday's games come into play, Texas Tech is 19 in the RPI, Oklahoma State is 20. If you look at KPI, Texas Tech is 16, Oklahoma State is 21. Again, there's some of the other options for hosting, like at Oregon, whose schedule is awful. Stanford, right below Texas Tech, can't host. Virginia Tech, I get it, but also you got 3 quad 4 losses. Not sure we typically have a lot of hosts that have 3 quad 4 losses. And so 2 teams that could be hosting, will they get to? We also feel confident that Arizona State and UCF will be in the field. After that, it's, can BYU do enough to bump their way in, or does somebody else from the field win the Big 12 tournament to make it to the postseason? Eric, we've got a whole week of tournament action to play, and I'm sure you're going to have some bracketology stuff out throughout the week, but I mean, just what are kind of your thoughts as we sit here before the Big 12 tournament kicks off of what you see potentially happening?
So Texas Tech right now is in position to host. You mentioned that number 19. That's a key number. Historically, if you're in the top 19 RPI, you can host. Like, they have never gone outside the top 19 to host for whatever reason. Coincidence, just the way the metrics play out, whatever. That's the number. I think if Texas Tech gets to the Big 12 final or wins the Big 12, especially if they win the Big 12, I think they're a lock to host. They've played well. People forget this. They've won 19 of their last 22. It's not like they're limping in, which I do the committee looks at. And I think they are in good shape to host. That being said, you get bounced early in the Big 12 tournament. Things get a little murky at that point. UCF and Arizona State are in. I think the question with them is their seeding. I think you could see them as a 2, especially UCF. You could also see them as a 3. I think UCF's going to Gainesville. I think Florida Atlantic's their likely opening round game. I think they get paired with Florida. There's a scenario where maybe they go to FSU. Maybe they get shipped out for the first time ever. But I'll believe it when I see it. I think they'll more likely go to, I've just been skeptical of that. You know, I've always made the joke, like, well, you can't fly them out there. I'm like, well, they're in Orlando. You can fly anywhere. What are you talking about? But anyway, I will say they go to Gainesville until they prove me wrong, although Tallahassee has been the trend. But I think Mississippi State's going to go there against South Florida. As far as Arizona State, they're a little murkier. I could see them as a 2 seed at Texas A&M or at Texas, something like that. They could also be a 3 seed in one of those regionals. They could also go to UCLA as well. So those are places to watch if you're an Arizona State fan, which is why I think Arizona State will try to win that first game and avoid any of those, dropping to a 3 seed, low 3. So I think that's the story there. Oklahoma State probably has to get to the Big 12 final at least. Needs some help. An Oregon, Vatech early elimination from those conference tournaments would help Oklahoma State a lot. Honestly, from an Oklahoma State, you would have really preferred if FSU had swept Virginia Tech. That Sunday game may have bailed out Vatech a little bit. I think Oregon's in trouble. But Oklahoma State may have to win the Big 12 tournament, may need some help if they don't. If they get to the final. The problem is they're going to have to probably beat Tech. They need to beat Arizona State and Texas Tech in that order. Like beating a Baylor, for example, will not help you. That's the problem that they're in. But they do have a strong schedule strength, and I would not count them out from that standpoint. And so there is a lot to play for in this Big 12 tournament. I think Arizona, to your point, I could see them anywhere in that 9 to 11 spot. If they win the Big 12, like you and I think, Phillip, I could see them moving up as high as 9. I don't know if they can get to 8, but I could definitely see them getting to 9. 8 is possible with some things breaking right. You lose early, now you're dropping maybe to 12. But I think that's where Arizona is. And the interesting thing is that I wonder is if Texas Tech wins the Big 12 tournament and beats Arizona again, let's say, does that fuel enough where Texas Tech jumps Arizona and you see Texas Tech skyrocket in the seeding? That could be possible. We've seen that before.
That would be that'd be something to see. Okay, I mean we know what to look for this week. We know what to watch out for. What's on the line for everybody? It's a big week in Oklahoma City. It kicks off Wednesday, as I mentioned, and we get all day softball Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday starts at 2:30. Thursday starts at 11. Your 2 games on Thursday are at 3:00 and 5:30. Oh, 11 a.m. on Saturday.
Just give me
Man,
good weather.
let's just check. Let's just check Oklahoma City, Oklahoma forecast. Let's see what we got. Because I believe it was like 2019. They didn't even get to finish. Ooh, oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Don't want that.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
What are you looking at?
Looking at thunderstorms on Tuesday, PM showers on Wednesday, showers on Thursday, PM showers on Friday, mostly sunny on Saturday. We'll see what we get.
What percentages we're talking here?
39%. It's raining Tuesday. You're going to get thunderstorms on Tuesday.
What time? I'm flying on Tuesday. What are we doing?
I don't know. I'm doing the best I can here, man.
What
okay,
kind of
weather.com. I'm not a meteorologist. Don't pretend to be. Tuesday day, showers and thunderstorms, potential for heavy rainfall that night. It's going to rain Tuesday.
Oh, night. I don't care about it. Yeah, night. I don't care.
Okay, Wednesday.
As long as I'm in my hotel, I don't care. I'm not one that's going out. I'm not like Lea that's got to party it up in downtown Oklahoma City.
Oh, whatever.
They might. Wednesday is off and on showers through the afternoon, scattered thunderstorms in the evening. They might want to bump up Wednesday and start a little bit early. We'll see if they can do that. Thursday, occasional rain showers throughout the day. Friday, showers arriving. Look, it's Sunday, and this will change 10 times before we get to Wednesday. So let's just hope that the changes don't mess this all up. Let's just hope.
Amen.
Fingers crossed.
Amen.
Fingers crossed. All right. Lea, what's going on in the Quad Cities that's keeping you out of OKC?
Guys, it's a big week. It's National Travel and Tourism Week. So that's big for me since I work in tourism. And we are going to showcase kind of a revamped reskin of our website. So check out, visit quadcities.com on Thursday.
You heard it here, quadcities.com. 1012
Wait,
network.
So is this in Iowa? Is this in the region of Iowa? Where is this?
So we're a bi-state family of communities in Iowa and Illinois, right on the Mississippi River. So like I live in Iowa and then I work in Illinois. And so we're just the Quad Cities.
So like, for example, like I know UCF's scheduled to go to Iowa State next year. So if I decide to go, are you helping me with that? Like, are you helping? Or is that nothing to do with it?
No, that's a different, that's they've got their own DMO.
Oh, got it.
They're central Iowa. We're eastern Iowa.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry for the confusion.
You need to get a map, Eric.
That's true. Very true.
Let's see. How's the travel? Let's pull up a map. Davenport to Ames, Iowa. Let's see what.
And if you go through like Iowa 80, you'll go by the world's largest truck stop, and that's considered in the Quad Cities. Everyone loves that. Guys, go the world's largest truck stop. You have to go. It's on everyone's bucket list. Phillip, why are you laughing?
It's a 3-hour drive from Ames to Davenport, Eric. Just letting you know. So if you want to take
it's quick. It's quick.
A quick 3 hours. Yeah.
I'll get you back to you on that. I'll get back to you.
Maybe you guys could just meet names. Meeting a name seems like a reasonable.
Oh, okay.
Seems reasonable. All right.
Whatever.
As always, check out the In the Circle podcast. Eric and Victor do a great job. And yes, I plan to be there on Wednesday on the live show. So make sure that you are subscribed to In the Circle on YouTube. You can find Lea on TikTok or in the Quad Cities. Remember, quadcities.com. I'm sure Leah's on there somewhere. Maybe she's I'm really fingers crossed that you're a random model in one of the photos like on the site. Like
sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yes. Look, that's why all job descriptions have and other responsibilities as required listed, because sometimes you have to be the marketing model. Of course, like I said, 1012network.com. Don't forget 10% off single game tickets to the AUSL for the summer, theausl.com. Use that promo code 1012. We'll be back after Selection Sunday. Other than that, In the Circle. Y'all. Fingers crossed for Big 12 softball this week. Talk to you later. So I've done this before, and I really liked it. And so now I feel like final, I'm going to say regular season episode, even though we're technically heading into postseason. I like to get a couple of seniors on together, just to have a conversation about careers and being a senior and time at their school coming to a close. And I'm very excited that I got these two seniors together. I mean, if you're a Baylor softball fan, a Big 12 softball fan, if you're just a softball fan, I think you know their names. Dariana Orme, Shaylon Govan from Baylor joining us today. Ladies, thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'm thrilled to have you. I mean, look, this is a Big 12 softball show. We talk a lot about you over the last few years and what you've done at Baylor and what you've done at the Big 12. And it's been, let me just say personally, it's been an absolute joy to watch you. It's going to feel a little weird next year not seeing either of you in the lineup for Baylor. Those it always takes some getting used to when those players you've been following for a few years suddenly just aren't there anymore. I mean, let's start there. I mean, how do you feel it? And Dariana, I'm gonna let you go first here. This is the end of your Baylor playing tenure. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I think it's pretty bittersweet. I genuinely didn't think it was ever going to end, hence the reason I've been trying to get those years back each year. But I'm just so thankful that Coach Moore brought me in, being a transfer. Obviously, Shaylon can speak to that as well. But I think the time that I have been here, I've gained a family, and I can truly say that. People say that all the time, but I mean it. That I'm sad to leave my family and move on, but I'm thankful that God placed me here to gain such an amazing just group of people, from the coaching staff to the girls that have moved in and out with me. It's bittersweet. I know it's time to move on, but I'm sad to be leaving my family.
You're definitely not losing. Leaving
Yeah,
is the
not
right
losing,
word.
leaving.
No, we never lose family. We just leave them for a period. Shaylon, same question. How are you feeling right now?
I feel like it honestly has not hit me yet. And we had our senior weekend and things like that, but I pretty much kept my composure pretty well during that time, and I know that, when I the last out of the my career and things, until that is coming into play, I feel like that's when it's gonna hit me. I feel the same way as Dari, especially as I came here as a transfer 3 years ago, looking for a place that I can have a family and, grow on and off the field. And I was able to do that with the girls and the coaching staff. So it's definitely going to be hard. Not sure I'm going to be able to take it, especially after the 3 weeks or however. I might still be laying in bed, crying every day, honestly. But yeah, it's bittersweet, like Dari said, and it's definitely sad to think about. It's going to be over soon. So
you are 2 of 11 seniors who are leaving this program, which is a lot. There's going to be a very new team next year. A lot of names we're not going to be seeing around. I mean, it's a big senior class, and it's a lot of people. It's a lot of emotions, as Dariana, you've kind of mentioned. How's everyone feeling? How is the senior class feeling as we head into the Big 12 tournament this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's important for us. We've been thinking, okay, there is a lot of us, but what can we do as 11 seniors to leave our mark on the girls that will be returning and the girls that are coming into the program? And so I think that's been the biggest thing that we have been focused on is okay, whether that's the culture or kind of the routines that we've had throughout the years, it's how do we continue to make sure that the underclassmen know that this is the Baylor standard and that they are able to uphold that when we leave. So I think that we've been able to do that well, and just continuing to reiterate those things for the underclassmen, and then also just, again, leaving that mark and that legacy as the 11 headed out.
Yeah. I feel the same way as Dari, especially when you have 11 to 12 seniors, especially all of us coming together as, transfers and things like that after their 1 year. It was just really important for us as senior class to be able to implement them and have their culture that they came from a program, and just, be able to change and put all of our personalities together in one to help lead the team. And I do feel like we've done that, very well. And so that was, like Dari said, was one of the biggest things about like keeping the culture and the standard high here at Baylor, was one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we continued, especially as they go through their college career after, we leave.
We talk about culture a lot in sports, and I think it's very important everywhere. Some places even more so, and how that culture is established and what that culture is. How as departing seniors, what do you do to help ensure that once you're gone, that culture you've been a part of remains, even though you can't be here every day? Being a part of making sure that it sticks around. What do you feel like is your role as you prepare to leave, to do your best to set that culture up for success after you're gone?
Yeah, I think we did a great job at the beginning of this year. We've got this kind of new tradition going on, which is where we meet and have like a girls' day out. And so in that girls' day out, we're able to really get to know each other, whether that's a senior with an underclassman, a freshman, or a senior with a senior. And so as we were able to build those relationships in the fall, those are relationships that will now sustain us for life. So I think that as we have built the culture up, we are now able to say, like, if I'm just out and being in the real world now, and a freshman who is now a sophomore feels like they need to call or ask questions, they are more than welcome to do that, because I find myself even now with Sydney leaving last year, Sydney Cuellar, like, I find myself calling her often, like, hey, you were here a little bit longer than me. I know that before I came in, this was the standard. What am I missing, and what can I do better? Or what would you guys have done in your day, like, to help out now? So I think that those connections that we have built have been really strong and really good for us to just continue to sustain this program and grow the program.
Yeah, and I feel like not only that, especially my 3 years being here, our identity has been in Christ. And so we have definitely had that, especially I know coming in, like, it has always been a tradition. It's at this point, we might as well call it a tradition, a culture, that someone is getting baptized by our coaching staff. And so I feel like that has definitely been like an identity in Christ and allowing us to play freely on the field. And that's just something that I feel like we've built here as a culture, and just being able to try to have that be continued, no matter if that's on the field, off the field, just making sure that, that standard that we feel like, or that culture that we have just built, no matter what walk you are with Christ, that you're going to be able to somewhat resonate with what we're talking about on and off the field. And I feel like that has helped us succeed on the field and just be able to play freely and, just allow everyone to come together as one.
That's fantastic. Look, obviously, your faith is important to both of you, and it is a big part of coming to Baylor, right? But how... It's going to sound like a little bit of a complicated question, but it's been a bit of a struggle for you guys this year. The season's not gone the way I think you would have hoped, especially with 11 seniors. But how have you used your faith to kind of get through this year and through what has been a bit of a struggle? And like I said, not what you would have hoped for your final year, but how have you been able to use your faith this season especially?
Yeah. I think in the heart is where God is able to refine you. And I think in this season, especially whether you're talking about the full team struggling or struggling with injuries, I think God is looking for us to lean on him fully. And we've been able to do that. And that doesn't always mean that we're successful. Following Christ doesn't mean that you are successful in life. That means that he is going to walk with you and that doors will open. But you may not always understand that at the forefront. Right now, we don't understand why we had to go through a season as such to be successful in life. But I know that through the tests and the trials that we have gone through, it will prepare us and has prepared us for what is to come years down the road. Because as much as we love sport, sport is sport. And so it is not like, this is not what I will be doing for the rest of my life, which is crazy to say. But I think God truly, when we're struggling, it's like, okay, Shaylon, this weekend, Shaylon, what's going on? Like, how do you feel about this being our last conference series? It's like, okay, well, what is God, like, where does God see us in this moment? Like, how can we find peace in, okay, if we lose, I gave everything I had and God delights in that. And so I think finding that delight that God would see through us. And like, if I didn't give it all I have, maybe God isn't happy or satisfied with me. But if I gave everything I had on every given day and we come out with an L, God is happy that I gave him everything I had. And so I think continuing to keep that at the forefront of our mind has been really beneficial for us and growing our relationship with Christ.
Yeah, and I also feel like too, especially, like going through this, this year that we didn't expect, I feel like God definitely showed us the importance of community. And I feel like as we have had, you know, the injury part of it and everything, we have been there for our teammates. And I feel like that they have felt that throughout this year. And then they come back and just seeing them play with the light and just being happy to be on the field, even if it does not end in a W. I feel like showing that we've had community and we have people that you can lean on, and just someone that's always gonna like they're gonna always pour the word into you. And so I feel like that's exactly what we've had here at Baylor through our teammates, through our coaches, and just being able to have community and relationship. This year I think has honestly been one of like has shown that's what I have gotten a lot out of this season. I've gotten closer to a lot more to like girls that I've been on the team with for 3 years, just from being able to share that experience of, being hurt, playing through being hurt, and, just being closer with them and actually, pouring into them and they're pouring back into you. And so I feel like that has what God has shown me, especially through this season.
Fantastic answers. I love it. That's great. Looking ahead to this week, obviously Big 12 tournament in Oklahoma City. You girls play game 1 on Wednesday against Kansas to open things up. What's the mindset? We sit here recording on Monday morning. What's the mindset you girls are in and this team you feel like is in as you head into Wednesday and what could be, your final game of your careers?
Yeah. Shay, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Honestly, I feel like our mindset is, truly playing for each other, and knowing that we are good. I feel like we have had those times where we weren't sure if we were good, based off of the schedule that we have and knowing that the preseason schedule and knowing that we're battle tested. We've played good teams. We've seen the top pitching in the country. Now it's just our time that we can have that everything come to fruition and show that we are supposed to be here and we're playing for each other. And I feel like that is kind of as we have gotten throughout the season, we've definitely gotten better and we've realized that we were playing for each other, and for the everyone to come, the freshmen, showing them the way, showing having the seniors in on a high note too. And I just feel like that is our mindset going in, playing for each other and knowing that we've done this before. We've played at the highest level. And so now it's just time to go on the field and show it.
Yeah, I think going off of that, what she's saying is like playing to see another day for your seniors. And that was said this weekend. Got to hear it a lot from Brooklyn Carter, who was expressing the importance of like, whatever the result is, like play for your seniors, play for them, so that they can see another day. And so I think that having that mindset behind all the preparation, we've already done everything we can. We are prepared. It's a matter of now doing it. And I think we know that. And so we're ready to showcase what may not have been showcased throughout, but like you've gotten glimpses of. We are ready to really go and show that this weekend that it is possible and that we can get it done, especially when we're playing to see another day for our seniors, which is in essence playing for each other, and ultimately again playing for God first. But I think that is the biggest mindset we have right now is how can we play for each other, unite.
Okay, I love it. All right, we gotta talk a little bit about your careers because you two have had, I would call them illustrious careers there at Baylor and some just incredible games, incredible performances, incredible moments. There's a long list I'm sure you're going to have to think through here for a second, but I want to know, as your time in Baylor, Shaylon, I'll let you go first. What's the game that just sticks out the most to you from your time there at Baylor? Be it by individual performance, team win, a game or a moment that just sticks out as like, this is one I'm really gonna think about and remember a lot.
I honestly, I don't know. We've had some good moments as a team and things like that. obviously my mind does go to Oklahoma and giving them that, like our team giving them that one loss. Um, but also I go back to last year and just being in that super regional. That was and like that whole postseason run was truly like special. And it was special because that was like one of the teams that uh when we say this year like we want to play for each other, that was definitely a team that you felt that with. Like we were really close knit. Um and we were truly playing for those seniors that had been there for 4 years and have gone through those culture changes and just have been able to experience every part of college softball, the good and the bad. And so I feel like last year and playing in that regional and super regional, it was truly something special that you cannot describe. And that was, I could say, I think that was probably one of the best moments in my career.
I love that. I definitely just got chills thinking about that again because, man, that was so much fun. That was so much fun to be a part of and to watch. Just like she's saying, like watching all of your teammates and friends like excel and do well after all the hard work they've put in. It was just so much fun. But I think that's a hard question too because the answer everyone wants is like the continued answer, which is like the OU wins and like because that is big and it really is. I think for me with I go back to I think 23 when we played Tennessee twice at Tennessee, a game that wasn't televised that should have been televised because man, those games were
Yes, they should have.
amazing. They should have been because those games were so much fun. I think like just how much like how electric it was. Just the first game against them, pitching a one hitter against a lineup that was very, very strong, very strong, and having the support of my team like behind me every inning, just as I felt like I was rolling, and they're supporting me and confirming like, yeah, you're on it, like you've got this, like that feeling, and then to turn around the next day and do it to them again with bad weather and them really wanting to play us, which was just so much fun. Just again playing with that chip on our shoulder of like, okay, let's do it. Like, what do we have to lose? We have nothing to lose. Let's just go play our game. And so being able to walk away with two at Tennessee was just, that is something that I'll remember forever. That was a great, great series.
I remember those games. That was, yeah. The lack of television. Tennessee, come on.
I know.
Yeah, I remember being like, what? Just trying to like follow the stat page on the website and refresh, like what's going to happen. Man, I'm going to tell you, watching games is stressful. Sitting there refreshing the stat sheet on the internet and like trying to like, okay, what's next? What's happening?
Yes.
Also can be very stressful.
My dad tells me often about how stressed he was as I'm pitching and he can't watch, and he's like, okay, now you got to tell me like what actually was going on because this is not working. I didn't get to see it, so now you got to break it down. So I can only imagine.
Because just like close games, it doesn't matter how you're tracking. It's radio, TV, updating websites. It is stressful. But man, it's fun. The sort of sport's so much fun. Okay, we have a list of questions we typically ask, and I've got them for both of you. I've tweaked them a little bit just because you two are seniors and the season's coming to a close. Dariana, what is your favorite walk-up song of your college career?
Favorite? Oh my goodness. Okay. I will say this year on my Sunday walk-up song, because my Sunday and Friday are different, but my Sunday walk-up song was I'm Getting Ready by Tasha Cobbs and Nicki Minaj. And man, when that song would play at home, like our speakers just seemed louder than usual. The bass would carry, and it would just get like playing that on a Sunday, just feeling like worshiping God. That song was really, that's probably my favorite.
Very good. Shaylon, same question.
Yeah, honestly, I love my walk-up song now, Moneybag, Rookie of the Year, because that is truly like my mindset. Like no matter what I've done, that is how I feel every time I step on the field. Like I feel like I have a chip on my shoulder every time. And I feel like I have to like, just, try to play my best every time. And, I feel like it's even better because it says my number like 12, like 3 times. Like it's like, I feel like it's like perfect. Like it sets the scene. So that's my song.
Love it. Love it. Okay. Peanut butter and jelly. What is your jelly of choice, Dariana?
Strawberry.
Okay.
Strawberry all the way.
Got a lot of strawberries so far this year, Shaylon.
I'm a grape.
Okay.
Grape. Mm-hmm.
All right. No, this is look. You can put whatever jelly you want. I'm gonna eat a peanut butter and jelly. I don't. It's funny as you get older, things that you're like, that's kids' food. Like, no, that's called comfort food. That stuff is good,
yes.
right?
Yeah. I agree.
I buy Uncrustables and Dino Nugs for me. Forget the kids. Dariana, what's your game day ritual, or has it changed throughout the years? Has it been the same thing for 4 years now?
So I don't know if I have like not too much. I wouldn't say it's a ritual, but I would say it's I really like Dutch Bros a lot. So this isn't a plug, but Dutch Bros.
Not a sponsor, but welcome to be.
I do have a drink at Dutch Bros, especially in Waco. They all know the Dutch Bros workers like Dari's drink, and so I have to have that. I gotta have that drink in my hand. Other than that, everything else can just go however it needs to go. But that drink, I need it.
All right, I gotta know for Baylor fans, what is Dari's drink so other people can go and order? Just drive with me like I need Dari's drink. That's what I need to do.
Yeah, I would want you to.
They're not gonna remember it.
Yes, they will. It's a Blue Oasis Rebel, double blended, extra thick with watermelon flow.
It's so long.
All right, just if you'll type that out and email it to me,
right.
And we'll make sure Dari's drink. And then I'll see if I can email Dutch Bros and be
yes,
all right, y'all.
Please.
This is what we need. Shaylon, same question for you.
I really don't have a game day ritual. All mine is to read the Bible before I like leave my house or before we leave the hotel or anything. That's usually my game day ritual. But I don't have anything that I eat or that I drink. Like I just pick whatever I'm feeling that day, eating and drinking wise. So,
Dariana? What's your favorite scripture?
My favorite scripture. I will say that over the years, my scriptures have changed. Depending on the season that I'm in. Sure. So right now, I would say just because the team, like our scripture, coming from Colossians 1:16, I think, just talking about in him, through him, and for him with Christ. And so that has truly just this year, whether that was on the field or in just life, like while I'm walking, like, man, everything I do needs to be aligned with that. So that has been something I'm trying to really walk with for the rest of 25.
Shaylon?
So everyone, obviously, I feel like everyone knows this one. Philippines 4:13, but I like the AMP version just because it goes into more detail. And it's talking about, obviously, I can do all things through him who strengthens me, but it says like through confident peace, and it has many, like, it's a lot of words in there that are in parentheses after the scripture that resonate with me. So that's really why that's more of my my scripture for this season that I have been like reading before every game.
Okay. We love Coach Moore here. Always appreciate having him on the show. He's an absolutely great interview. I'm sure you have lots of fantastic memories with him that you'll be thinking about and reminiscing, but give me one good Coach Moore story, Dariana.
Oh, okay. Hold on, let me think. Because this man, all the stories. What's a good story, Shay?
I'm trying to think too.
There's so many that truly there are so many, because he really is just so funny. I don't even know if this is like a story, but I think like something I'm really just gonna miss is him walking out to practice. We're already out there. He's probably doing an interview or something. and he'll take his hat off and just blind us with like how bald he is.
He does do that a lot.
Without fail, we all have to say something like, "Put that hat on, Coach." Because why are you trying to blind us out here?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna miss that so much. Like, I'm gonna miss being able to say that to him.
Well, you still can. Don't worry. You know.
Oh, I will. Oh, I'm gonna be texting him while he's on TV. I'm gonna be texting him. Don't worry.
Shaylon, you got one?
Honestly, I feel like most of our stories is trying to put him on the culture, like the pop culture. Like he knows nothing about anything that we're like saying. He's like, what does that mean? And we have to like describe to him what it means. Like he does not know. I mean, this weekend we were talking about dance moves and like him doing a dance move, and I think he said like he called something like the slam board or something. We were like, what is that? And I'm pretty sure it was the sprinkler. It was the sprinkler. And he was calling it something. And we were like, what is that? Like, what is this? What are you talking about? So definitely like putting him on a bunch of like culture, some pop culture, some words that he hears us say. He does not know what we're saying. We're just like, this is what we're saying. Like he just does not know.
And we gave him the nickname 2 years ago at a spiritual retreat. I was like, he needs a nickname going off of pop culture. And so obviously Coach Moore like C. Misley, and he was like, what? I was like, Coach Moore, that's like, you know, your rap name. That's your.
He
What?
loves it now. Like
He
if we
loves
call him
it.
T Miz, he's like, oh, like he's like into it.
Okay. I'm taking notes. Team is, and what's the current pop culture they're trying to get you on? Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
C. Miz. Coach Moore, so C. Miz.
C.
Yeah.
Miz. All right. Got it. All right. Perfect. All right. I'm going to have to make that note. And I'll let our good friend Lea Nelson know that one too, since she's a big fan of his. Okay. You both have been fantastic. I really appreciate your time. I'm going to one last question to throw at you. Who's the best trash talker on this team?
Who would you say, Dari?
No, you say it.
All right, same time. Ready? On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Brooklyn. Dang it.
Oh, both of them are good. Those are the two people that I had. I was both of them. Both of them are good.
Fantastic. I love it. Oh, okay. Seriously, you two have been fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today. This has been a pleasure and a treat. It's been a joy to watch you both play. If you're going to keep playing some way professionally, I hope we have an opportunity to see you again. And thank you for your time today. This has been fantastic. Two people I've wanted to have on the show for a while, and to get you together. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
us.
We're going to miss you.
Yes.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.